everybody.
This is a
Welcome back
video.
again.
This is a video that I've been looking to ever since this week ended.
Yes. Welcome back to a little Austin Sports Weekend with Austin, the man here himself. We got to talk college football.
There's going to be some salt.
It was upset weekend. There's going to be a little salt in the wound.
There's going to be some salt, some pepper, some paprika.
We are huge Tennessee fans, and this weekend hurt a little bit. There was some, we talk about upsets, there was some serious, it was upset weekend. If you got out this weekend without getting beat, upset, then you are lucky this week. But we've got to go ahead and talk about it. Tennessee at Arkansas.
What happens when you try to wrestle a pig in its own mud pit?
Sometimes you get dirty. We're 1-5 against Arkansas.
At Arkansas. And we're 1-5 in our last 6 matchups against the Razorbacks.
That's where Tennessee struggles a little bit with them. And I haven't went back and looked much, but Tennessee's not very good coming off of a bye, which is odd.
Which is an indictment on, let's get it up to this part right.
Tennessee only scored
14
points, and they were ugly points. Dylan Sampson, I got to give kudos to Dylan Sampson. I mean, you both have been saying since the first year, he's fantastic. He's the best player on the team right now. He's fantastic. He's the next Alvin Kamara. He is wonderful.
All right. Are the positives out of the way?
That is the only positive. That's it. The rest of it is not good.
The rest of it is terrible. I'm going to be honest.
I'm not going to put it on the players, though. I'm not going to put it on the players. And you know me, I don't harp on coaches too much because coaching is a hard thing. But that was a terrible
game plan.
It was bad.
Do you know what? I said it when I saw it at the end of the first quarter. I told you, sitting next to you, that their game plan was really bad starting out.
The game before, we went to Oklahoma, found out, sort of fell into our defense being so good that we didn't have to lean on our offense. So we pulled back to the reins of the offense and said, all right, defense, go get them, baby.
And it seemed like...
And we never got off of that.
And we didn't change the game plan after the bye week, which is...
No, we went through the whole 2 weeks of bye week, and we never changed the game plan. I don't even know if we practiced offense the way it looked.
Because they just looked slow. They looked bad. They just looked... Offensive line couldn't block, and it was just... It was
a bad game plan.
I'm going to get on 2 individuals as the main perpetrators. Joey Halsley.
I'm still wondering
if Josh Heupel.
If he's going to be it. Halsley lays out the offense, and
Heupel
calls the play. So they both had a hand in it. It was, and again, I'm not putting it on the player. The players only do the plays that you give them. I'm not. So it was what it was. Our defense still looked pretty good, but they held the other team to 19 points. If you would have told me that you're going to hold Arkansas to 19 points, I'm like, shoot, we're going to beat them by 15 points in. I mean, we should have scored 30, at least 30. It should have been an 11-point win.
But Arkansas did just enough, and they didn't turn the ball over, which was a key.
See, and honestly, I think what we did, Nico struggled a little bit, but this is just in my mind. I could be just making this stuff up. But I think we didn't practice any explosive offense over those 2 weeks. I don't think we actually practiced it. But when we got into the game and we were like, maybe we need to be a little bit more wide open, it looked ugly because we didn't practice it. It wasn't part of the game plan. Our offense needs to be explosive. They thrive on 40 and 50 points. That's what they thrive on. They don't thrive on 18 points and 22 points. That's not what they thrive on. You're pulling them back. You're choking them. You're choking them out by doing that.
You're restricting them. You're saying?
Yes. Yes. And what happens when you cut the air off from a motor? It quits running.
Yep.
And that's what happened. We got to go balls out or nothing. That's what our offense is.
It's not like Arkansas was a pushover either.
No.
Arkansas is a good team.
Arkansas is like 2 or 3 plays away from being unbeaten. I'm not saying that's a bad loss. I'm just saying that was a bad game plan.
And Arkansas took advantage. That's all it really had to. All we got to say about that.
That's all about that one, yeah. But go Vols. we're still 100% behind the team.
Just
we just hope that we can get a better game plan out of it.
Just make sure that you got. Just make sure that you. Just make sure you don't wrestle a pig in its own mud pit.
I did. I actually talked to one of the players on the team this week. I'm not going to throw names out there, but I talked to one person that's actually on the team in the practices, and he told me that they've been practicing angry this week, that they didn't take the loss very well, that they've been practicing really, 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 really angrily this week.
Sometimes you
have to take a kick.
You got to take a kick to the gut sometimes. And this Arkansas game might have been that kick they needed.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting this week to see how they bounce back.
Especially against an arch rival.
Against one of your main arch rivals for the past 30 years. Yeah. But go Vols. We had UCLA at Penn State.
Big game James.
He's got a big one this week. But hey, you got a 16-point win. That was good. Missouri, Texas A&M.
Take him behind the
41
woodshed.
to 10.
Behind the woodshed.
I mean, yeah, they knocked down the woodshed. That was
Texas A&M beat the snot out of them. It wasn't close.
Yeah, Tennessee had a bad game plan. Missouri might be a fraud. Dude, to lose 41 to 10. Now Texas A&M is
starting to round themselves up. They've come off of wins against Arkansas.
They've got a chance to slip into the playoffs. They got a chance to take Tennessee's spot in the playoffs that we were trying to get. I think they're that good. 41 to 10 though. Iowa, Ohio State. Iowa's not as good.
And Ohio State has a habit of starting off slow and then getting things rolling as the game progresses.
Yeah, it might be 7-7 with 8 minutes left, but they'll win 35-7.
That's just how they roll.
That's how they roll. Auburn, Georgia. Georgia coming off of that loss, 31-13. They had a good bounce back game.
But they still got some off the field problems.
Yet another player
arrested. And 7 players since January.
And this guy had his scholarship pulled
for a repulsive crime.
For abusing a unborn infant is what they're counting. I think he might have smacked around or something, his pregnant girl or something like that. I don't know, but that's not really good. And the culture in Georgia is getting worse.
They need to get that fixed.
What'd you say people are calling him now? Thugga University. I'll tell him. I think they got an alternate uniform this coming weekend. It's striped. They need to seriously though. I've got friends who like Georgia. They need to change that culture.
That culture needs to get fixed.
That's not good. Yeah, we had Ole Miss, South Carolina. I thought South Carolina was going to put up a bigger fight in this, 27-3.
I think Ole Miss decided to hold a chicken cook-off instead.
Yeah, I think maybe last week they got a little embarrassed too,
and they wanted to.
And they took it out
on South Carolina.
Yeah, we had. Oh, here it is.
Oh yes,
here it is.
Get on your glasses. Put on your glasses before you talk.
Not this weekend, but last weekend, Coach Saban is retired, and they were on game day.
Oh, boy. You know where this is going.
And he said, all of the SEC stadiums are tough to go win in, except for Vanderbilt.
Do you think they might have lit a fire under their butts? Because
35-40 Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt had control of the game the entire game. It's not
no fluke.
It wasn't even 40-35.
No fluke. No fluke.
Vandy beat them in every aspect of the game. They've got a quarterback that's like 3'8". No, I'm serious. No, what is he, like 5'9", 5'10"? He looked like Johnny Manziel out there in Manziel's prime. They couldn't touch him. It was like chasing a greased pig or a chicken or something. They couldn't get him. And the tight end that transferred over with him too, they couldn't tackle him. So 2 transfers that come into Vandy beat Alabama.
How about that?
I'm good. Vanderbilt beat Alabama. I'm trying to say it again, make sure it's real.
Vanderbilt beat
Alabama handily.
Alabama.
Yes, easily. And I keep thinking, they'll come back and beat them by,
but it never happened.
Never happened.
And it was just Vandy's day.
It was Vandy's day.
And I'll give, as a fan of a rival team, you gotta give Vanderbilt credit for a historic.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I've got a really good friend who goes to Vandy. So yeah, I got nothing against Vandy that way. That was so beautiful.
Vanderbilt gave us the gift of the season.
That was just, Tennessee lost to Arkansas, but it wasn't quite as bad as it could have been. Because we had that soft, huggable pillow of Vanderbilt beating Alabama to squeeze. Okay, we had number 15 Clemson at Florida State. Florida State's record is now
1-5, and do you want to bring out the dumpster here, or do you think it's kind of beating a dead horse?
I don't know. We put Florida State on the dumpster each week, but they're 1-5.
But they got their backup quarterback. They at least seems to have a little bit of hope over there, I think.
They scored 13 points. They benched DJ Uga-Alele.
Come on.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Oh, but the Florida State, I don't know if, we were all making fun this year. We didn't know if Florida was going to keep a head coach halfway through the season because their schedule was so tough. Florida State may not keep a coach halfway through the season because their team is so bad.
But Mike Norvell says DJU wasn't the problem. It was everybody else.
If it is, he might as well pack his bags and leave. Because everybody else is his team. And everybody else is coached by him.
Oh, gee willikers.
Oh, number 10, Michigan at Washington.
Another
victim of the top 10.
And this was one we called.
Yeah, we actually called Washington to beat this one.
And Washington did it. And
10 points, very easily, actually.
And but Steve Belichick, that last name might ring a bell.
Does it sound familiar?
Yeah, he's the defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick's son, Steve Belichick.
Yeah, so that may be a up-and-coming young coach there.
That might happen to be related to one of the best defensive minds in the
history of NFL football. Number 11 USC at Minnesota.
Another victim.
17-24. It was so bad, I think USC got knocked completely out of the rankings.
They did.
From 11 to not ranked anymore. How do you drop 20 spots?
Lincoln Riley. That's the best explanation. He's on thin ice over there at USC.
Yeah. He left Oklahoma in the dead of the night with his bags half packed and ran with half of the players. And now Oklahoma is back to being a pretty good team, and USC
Can you talk
going down?
Can you talk karma? I don't know if really
karma. This one was almost an upset. Number 8 Miami at Cal, 39-38.
Cam Ward was Cam Ward, but Miami was down 25 at one point and came back to win.
That's on the road.
That's a winning team. That's a good culture builder.
Miami will probably not only make the playoffs, they could win a game.
They could win a game. That offense could win them a game.
They could make it to the second round. And if they get better throughout the season, who knows where they could be.
This might be
back. That might be back. That might be back. Michigan State at Oregon. One of the only few top 10 teams that did their job, 31-10.
And Oregon did it pretty handily because this upcoming week.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and jump into it. That is our Week 6 recap. Let's jump on our Week 7 predictions.
And this game is always personal to us.
Yeah. Florida is coming to Tennessee.
And it's a very personal rivalry of mine growing up.
The Tennessee won at 2016. Florida at Tennessee. They won 2022.
Florida
at Tennessee. That's the last 2 times. I think it was 2004 maybe or 2002 before that, since we had beat Florida at Tennessee. So I think we've only beat Florida at Tennessee 3 times this century.
We've had problems with them.
Out of the last 19 times playing Florida, we're 2-17.
That is a bad record, I will admit.
That is a bad record. Florida, though, they're a little bit down this year. But I went in and looked. Florida's only got 2 losses. They are against
Miami, which is good.
Which is not a bad loss. And Texas A&M.
Not a bad loss.
That's their only losses.
That's, of course, well, Florida always plays Tennessee tough, and Tennessee always plays Florida
Florida
tough.
is coming to Tennessee. The odds makers are not as afraid as we are. They've got Tennessee. They've got the line at 15 points right now. I think it started out at like 16.
Let me tell you, in rivalry games, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. I do think Tennessee wins this because Tennessee is mad right now. They're playing mad. They're practicing mad. I think they're going to play mad. But I still
just don't play too mad and commit penalties.
That is a trap. That's a trap game as far as the points go, though.
Yes.
15 points. You're like, Tennessee coming up. They may win by 30 and they may win by 3 because it's a rivalry game and there's going to be a lot of emotions and a lot of I'm going to prove what we can do this weekend. A lot of tension,
a lot of maybe personal fouls.
This is going to be an exciting weekend. Florida's going to come in trying to win because they just saw us lose to Arkansas. And they're saying if Arkansas could beat them, we could beat them.
But I don't think Florida has enough talent.
But I don't think they do.
Will Tennessee play with that fire they had in the beginning of the year?
I will give you 2 facts that will convince you Tennessee is going to win. What's Tennessee's best offense right now? Dylan Sampson.
Dylan Sampson just run the ball.
Florida gives up an average of 4 yards a carry on the year.
So does that mean I don't want to stick with that conservative game plan anymore, but I'd like to run the ball.
I do not think they will be able to contain Dylan Sampson. I think he might have another 2 to 3 touchdown game. And if they pile people in there to stop Dylan Sampson because he ran for 120 yards in the third quarter, I think we might break loose some passing, and that's where we could beat that 15-point spread. But that's best case scenario stuff talking there. But Florida does give up an average of 4 yards a carry, and Tennessee and Dylan Sampson averages over 4 yards a carry. We've got the advantage in the running game. We just hope that
the offensive line can block.
Our left tackle will want to touch somebody this week.
I don't want to seem harsh in that way of me saying it, but
it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. We've had an injured offensive line this year, and they haven't gelled the way that we would hope they would, as far as a cohesive unit yet. And maybe because of injuries, maybe because I don't know.
Maybe the offensive line coach ain't doing
But
it.
Dylan Sampson is that good, even with those turmoils we've got on the offensive line. He's that good. So I still think Tennessee wins. That 15-point line scares me, to be honest. South Carolina at Alabama. I'm sorry, South Carolina. This may be a 42-3 game.
Alabama's going to come off.
This is going to be a 42-3 game.
They're going to come off so mad.
What is it, like 21? Taking me some Alabama minus 21, baby.
They're going to be so mad.
They're going to kick South Carolina like an empty Coke can. It's going to be bad. It's in Alabama. We got Clemson, Wake Forest.
Clemson jumps up gradually week after week.
Clemson is up to number 10. Wake Forest is 2-3. Not a really good team this year. I would not pick against Clemson in this one. This is a fantastic week for games, by the way. Our next one is the
Red River Rivalry. Another emotional Texas-Oklahoma.
Yeah.
First time in the SEC game.
Yeah, Texas is favored by 14.5 here. And this game, just like the Florida game, that 15-point spread scares me.
I don't want to take it because it's emotional.
It's more than 2 touchdowns.
It's like a Tennessee-Florida game where there's going to be a bunch of personal fouls, going to be emotion.
And how many times has Oklahoma beat Texas in the big games?
Pretty consistently.
Yeah, so Oklahoma's not having a good year this year, but think about this. What's in Oklahoma's mind? We're not having as good a year as we could.
But we got to beat our rival.
We wish we could be better, but
our opportunities ahead.
If we beat Texas, nothing else really matters this year. We could go 8-4, but if we beat Texas, so I would not. Texas has got the talent. Texas should win. I'm afraid of that 15-point line. Penn State, USC. USC is not even ranked anymore. I'm honestly going to pick USC for the upset. I can feel it on this one. Big James, he loses one of them every now and then. USC has been knocked down from 11 to not even in the rankings, dude.
You want to get motivated
How
here?
motivating is that?
Yes, motivation.
USC's at home, coming off of a loss. The line's only 3.5 to Penn State, anyways, straight up. I'm picking some USC on that one. Stanford at number 11 Notre Dame, and number 11 Notre Dame keeps going up. And Stanford is horrible.
Bad.
They are. They might be the worst team in the ACC.
Stanford.
That's right.
ACC.
They're in the ACC, and they might be the worst one in the ACC. So yeah, Notre Dame minus 82
I'll take that one.
is a good one. We got Arizona BYU. BYU has jumped up into the top 15.
Welcome to BYU. First time we mentioned them
Yeah.
outside of Kansas State.
That is a bad game for them to play, jumping into the top 15 right off the bat. Arizona gives them problems a little bit sometimes. The line's BYU minus 3. I'll probably take that because BYU's been playing really good, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona straight up beat them. Mississippi State, Georgia.
Georgia should win this game by 5 touchdowns.
It'll be
maybe.
5 touchdowns, I think. It's
Mississippi
35, yeah.
State's the only team in the conference where I'd call legit bad.
Georgia's got the one loss. They're going to try to. I don't know. I don't trust Georgia though. They might be losing 7-3 at Mississippi State at halftime, and then end up winning.
The
42
pulling your leg thing.
And then they'll end up winning 45-7 at
So
the
the
end.
pull your leg.
Yeah. Probably the game of the week. Number 2, Ohio State at number 3,
Oregon. This is a big test for both.
I'm gonna go Oregon.
You want to go Ducks?
Yeah.
That's a very.
They've been the most consistent team. They've had some tough games, but they have been the most consistent team winning this entire year. I mean, really, every team, there's a little struggle here, a little struggle, but they've been consistent. And I don't think Ohio State has been tested really much yet. And this is on the road at Oregon. I'm going to take a little Oregon plus 3. We got number 9, another beautiful SEC matchup. We got number 9, Ole Miss at LSU. Ole Miss is favored by 3.
SEC game of the week.
SEC game of the week. The 7:30 nighttime in LSU Stadium. I'm going to take LSU.
That's dangerous for Ole Miss. That is danger.
Ole Miss has proven that they're full of transfers and they have not gelled. They do not have cohesion. They do not have that,
And going in Death Valley at night.
Lots of talent. No cohesion so far.
In Death Valley at night, even Nick Saban struggled there at times.
Yes. Going to Death Valley at night is plus 7 points. I'm going to take LSU plus 3.5. We got Iowa State, West Virginia.
Welcome, Iowa State.
Welcome, Iowa State, to the top 15. That's going to be a tough game for them going into West Virginia. I'm probably going to take them, though. It's minus 3 there. And that is our last top 15 game of the week.
One little note.
Yeah, what's that?
Ashton Genty for the Boise State. Unknown.
A little.
He's on
kudos
pace,
to him.
He's on pace to rush for 2,680 yards, which would pass Barry Sanders for most on the history of any season at Boise State. You might want to catch up on Boise State.
Yeah,
because he could make history.
He could make history. They could pop up and win a conference and make it to the playoffs, and then that would be interesting.
They only lost to Oregon by 3.
Mm-hmm.
So Boise ain't.
Boise's not a pushover.
Bringing
so
us back to the days of Chris Peterson.
Right now, he's the best running back outside of the Power 5. Dylan Sampson is the best running back inside the Power 5. What if Tennessee actually got to the number 5 ranking at the end of the year and it was Tennessee? Boise had to come to Tennessee and play.
Oh boy,
would be something. Man, wouldn't that be fun?
Our first ever matchup with Boise would be a playoff game.
I'm really looking forward to this 12-team playoff. It's going to be really, really
good. It's much better than the 4-team.
Yes. Yeah. All right, we hope you had a little fun with us. Be sure to hit the like, the subscribe, share us with your friends, leave a comment.
Baby button.
Hit the groovy baby button. We'll see you
next week.